Welcome to Empower Hour. Let's get growing. Good morning. So good to be here. Hello to everybody who's in Kajabi or wherever you are. I know quite a few have been streaming in from LinkedIn. I'm excited to be here this morning. This morning's topic. Well, first I'm going to bring on my guest. I actually decided that I want to have a co-host as often as possible. And so, of course, I thought of my very good friend and client, Ms. B Royalty in the house. Morning.
Good day, Jen. Good morning. Excited to be here with you.
Thank you. So today's topic, by the way, I think I'm just going to be wearing a hat until like May. Okay, people, like it's freezing. Yesterday, I could not get warm. I was like, ah. So, but yeah, so today's topic, actually, first, Brene, tell us a little bit about you. I want people to understand who my guest is, what's going on in your life. So when you're giving your input today, they understand your perspective.
All right, definitely. So I'll give a little bit about my background. So I started traditional in corporate America, background in accounting back in 2009. And I was just following just the status quo, working my way up the corporate ladder. And I remember my first job, accounting job. I always kind of had this small voice that said, this isn't for me, but who's listening to intuition at like 23 years old? It was more about making money and getting promoted. So
Safety.
Yeah, the safety. So I spent 7 years CPA. And then after that, I made the jump. I always had a dream of opening my own wellness center because I had chronic illness, a rare chronic illness growing up. So I wanted to have a wellness center and get into fitness. So I made the full plunge, quit my job, and became a full-time fitness coach. And, I did have some good success with fitness, but after a few years, like it started to unravel. And this was a little bit before the pandemic. And at that time, I started to struggle. I felt like physically, emotionally, financially. I just like, what happened? I thought I was doing the right thing. I left my corporate position to become a fitness coach. Like I was felt just completely lost. And I think what saved me at the time is I started investing in myself with courses. I went on this retreat in Colorado. It was like an energy healing certification I was taking. And that just opened the doors for me to do a lot more inner work and really find out who am I really. And as I, took some courses and worked with some coaches, I started to realize that I was always already living my purpose. I was writing inspirational speeches as a Toastmaster. And at that point, I had been a Toastmaster for 7 years. So from there, it was just how to build a business from my passion of writing and delivering speeches. So my gift is the gift of spoken and written word and using that to serve others. And so that ends up being my purpose. So I'll fast forward to 3 years ago. My dream was to live in Jamaica during the winter time, and it still is my dream today. And at the time, there was a rough time. I just needed to get out of probably the States and New York, but I also wanted a dream of living in Jamaica, and that's where I went to write my first book, Abundance in the Bedroom. Spent 5 months, packed up everything, rented out my apartment, and it was a very just enlightening journey. And that was in 2023. Last year, I went to Jamaica for 2 months, and this year I'm going to Thailand. So just the transformation when I figured out who I was, why I'm here, and just I feel like life is just so much more fulfilling. Not saying I don't have the ups and downs, but it just definitely helped. And looking back, like I feel like it took me 15 years because I didn't really have a specific mentor to connect me to my purpose. Even though that's what I was looking for. I didn't know that's what I was looking for. So that's what I do. As I say, I'm a consultant that mentors others on how to discover their purpose. And I use the same framework, whether it was jumping from full-time corporate America to fitness coach or to I work in corporate now, but I still, as an author and as a consultant, there's the same framework to connect to and living your purpose. So I have a 12-week program. It's one-on-one, and I really give my clients the tools and the blueprint on what do you need to start that journey and become clear on who you are, what you want in life. And the biggest part is breaking down the limiting beliefs, the fear of lack of resources, time, money, or the fear of imperfection, the fear of judgment, and integrating in a life that you're going to sustain a life living in purpose. Because I've taken courses and done coaching, and then sometimes you kind of fall back into things. So I have a program that allows you to stay in that energy in a community that supports that. So it's a 12-week course called Live Your Purpose, and is with yours truly.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So you're going to bring great perspective to the conversation today, because today the conversation is kind of about some of the hidden traps that we fall into, the obvious ones, or not so obvious, but the ones that we sort of discover first when we're going deeper. A lot of the things you talked about, the fear, the scarcity, not wanting to let go of a full-time job. Should I stay in the job, right? And then last week, something really, really interesting happened to me. I spent 6 weeks in the Dominican Republic, really planning my rebrand and my launch of a couple of new programs. And actually, the program that I launched 2 weeks ago, my fractional leadership, was something that came to me through the divine. It was just a download, like, this is what you need to do. And so I was so excited about it. And last week was my first Empower Hour, where I'd be launching this and talking about this. And I was so gratefully super busy, new clients, coming on board, clients like you that are, doing programs and offering support and doing the things and making sure I'm prepared and blah, 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 doing all those things. But when it came time to show up for my Empower Hour, even though I took my normal amount of time and this and that, I was doing I'd start preparing and then, oh, but I got to do this. And then, oh, but I got to do this. And and literally showed up not fully prepared for the thing that was most important to me. And listen, my mission is to help over 1 million entrepreneurs and business owners, right? To self-actualize themselves and their businesses. Yes, you can self-actualize your business and your projects by the next leap year. And so if I don't show up prepared, I'm not going to be able to achieve that goal, which is really to help other people, right? And so really just realizing how important, when you're putting yourself out there as a leader, as a guide, as a healer, as a whatever title you want to give yourselves. And you guys who are listening, business owners and entrepreneurs, many of you, those are your titles, those are your roles. And so prioritizing yourself is so essential. And that is such a deep, deep, deep pattern for me. And I forget, and I get caught up in the busyness, right, of all the client needs, the marketing, the this, the that, and then things that are super important to me tend to go. And I can even see it when I write out my priorities for the week. It's like the work, the this, the that, and then the things to me, like my residency in the Dominican Republic, whatever, things that are super important to me. It's like get kicked over week to week to week. And for some reason, last week, it just hit me so hard, right? And that's, neglecting your own needs is where that burnout begins. And it's an illusion. The time is there. If we can just learn how to slow down that time and create that space, which, by the way, I did this week, and which, by the way, this has been my best week in business pretty much ever, because I made the space and I took the time. And that's the thing. It's like when you are able to self-prioritize, that's where the magic begins to happen. What do you think about that?
Oh, definitely agree with you. As you're speaking, I definitely resonate with what you're saying. Because I had the same, pretty much. I feel that as women, we're conditioned to take care of everybody else and sacrifice. So I feel it's from childhood we just learn how to do that. So as an adult, it's like, oh, we just kind of continuing what we learned younger. And I went through the same process. For me, I started working with you in, I think, September, and I'd taken a leave of absence from work because it was just like, it was a hot mess, right? For my corporate position, I wouldn't say work. And really, I just put myself first. I just did everything I needed to do. It wasn't about, because sometimes you can always get bottled down with, again, going back into corporate, like proving yourself and the promotion and all that. And I just stepped back, once I kind of just put my priorities first, and that's when I started working with you, and my business is really taking off. So I definitely agree with, I say it's not selfish, but self-full, fill yourself up so you can pour from the
Yes.
cup. And I feel that's what you did. And I'm curious to know, like, what was the process once it hit you that, okay, I'm not putting myself first. What was like the mental process that you took to make that space?
I'm glad you asked that, because awareness, right? So one of the I've changed up my my meditation practice, and I've been focusing on awareness. And what does that mean? It means, so when I'm meditating right now, as soon as my thoughts go drift, right? Which is really the same thing that's happening in real life. Here I am wanting to focus on something that's important to me, and my thoughts will go to this client and this marketing, that, right? All the stuff. And so I attribute a lot of that to that practice, the awareness that came to me, because I did sit down and have the time before last week's Empower Hour, but I wasn't present. I was with every other thing. And so I think that practice that I've been doing, so the meditation is just very different, because you're so focused on the thoughts drifting, on the thoughts drifting, on the thoughts drifting, on the thoughts drifting. And so now meditation and yoga, right? They're really a practice for you to take out into the world. So I think that was the mental process that I was, whoa, it was like so obvious that I had not. I mean, I even like lost my train of thought for a minute last week. That doesn't really happen to me. But I think, that awareness is the key. And so then from that point, it's hard to go back, right? Once you're acutely aware, I don't think that I mean, I've been aware of it on a higher level, but this was on a very micro level, because I did take the time, but I wasn't present. So when you can get to that point where you are so acutely aware of where your thoughts are in a moment, that's really powerful. And that's where you can actually start to, and I know, guys, some of you think I'm very woo-woo. I don't know what to tell you. This is who I am. But I was actually able to create time and space for myself. And I had the best week in business it was a really good week. So it's an illusion. We're deluding ourselves. And, like, we walk around, and I always say, entrepreneurs and business owners, they build themselves a golden cage. They get into this business because this is what they love to do, and they want the freedom, and they want the this, and the next thing you know, they're walking around saying, I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, and then they get deep into the micromanaging, and then they get stuck and they can't grow. And so, cultivating that awareness is the mental process.
Oh, awesome. So I hear you say definitely take the physical time and the mental time. Yeah. Now, I have a follow-up question to that, because you did speak about the woo-woos. What do you say to someone who's like, I really just can't meditate? What advice do you give to someone like that? Is there like maybe bike riding or running? Like, what advice would you give to someone who says, meditation isn't for me?
Well, first of all, I think that people are jumping to conclusions. I just told you that I enhance my meditation practice to be more aware of my thoughts. And the reason why people think that they can't meditate is because when they sit to meditate, they hear all the thoughts. But guess what, you guys? That is huge progress. Now, I've been meditating for 20 years, and here I am taking it to another level where I'm like acutely aware of these thoughts. So the thoughts were part of my meditation process for the last 20 years. Most people are not even aware of all of these thoughts. So you're already cultivating that awareness by just now recognizing like that you're sitting down to meditate and you're thinking about what you're doing for dinner and what you got to do tomorrow morning and all of those things. So so I would first say, like, go easy on yourself. It's not easy. And someone asked me the question yesterday, and I sent them, there's an amazing app called Insight Timer. And I sent him that and I said, commit to 5 minutes a day for 40 days. That's it. Just commit to that. But there are a lot of other things, anything that's kind of repetitive, like running, but without the headphones, unless you have like binaural beats going on or something like that, but really, just allowing you to be present with those thoughts. So meditation is not sitting down and all the thoughts are gone. It's actually being present with them. And then there are different kinds of meditation that will help you to just be present with the breath. And then you're able to actually create that space and time so that the thoughts sort of aren't coming in. But really in the beginning, you're just letting them go, being aware of them and then letting them go, and then being aware and then letting them go. So, but you can, I did a ton of kayaking last summer. Kayaking is really good because, it's very repetitive and you really need to be focused on what you're doing. And walking meditation, breath work is like super powerful. You can get into states that you get into in meditation in a much quicker time. So there are a lot of things. And the bottom line is, for prioritizing yourself, it's super important that you have rituals and routines that help you get into that highest and best present version of yourself. If you're a salesman or a saleswoman, right, you're going to have, I remember like when I was out in the field in real estate, like I even knew what color lipstick I was wearing. And it's like one of my daughters stole my lipstick. It was not going to be good because I had my ritual and my routine. This is how I was going to dress. This is what I was, So we have rituals and routines for all the things, but not necessarily for being able to answer the question, like you said in the beginning, who am I? What's my intention, right? And that's where you begin to live with intention because you're completely aware. So my intention was to roll out, this program in a really powerful way because I know how much business owners and entrepreneurs really need a program like this, but yet I didn't show up as fully as I could. So didn't set that intention that morning. I just showed up and had the time and space, but wasn't present, didn't have the intention crystal clear. And so these rituals help you to do that. But here I am, morning ritual, evening ritual. Sometimes I can be a little weaker on my evening, but I have not done not done a morning routine in like 6 years. Like it's hardcore. And I've been doing it for many, many years, but I'm talking where it's daily, like brushing your teeth kind of thing. So it's not really woo-woo. It's about going in and really understanding like who you are, what's important to you, what is the life that I want to live. And we do get to choose this. And you guys, here I am. I've had one of the most challenging lives. If I told you my life story and then I told you even the last 3 years, you probably wouldn't even believe it. But yet I'm still able to show up as the best version of myself. And I'm fully confident and have all the faith in the world in my business, in the life that I'm building. And you got to do it for yourself. You got to show up. And meditation for me, and I think probably for everybody, is a big part of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I started meditating, I'm saying 13 years ago. I was watching Oprah, and she had Deepak Chopra, and I started like just 5 minutes. So for those individuals that I think feel like it's a limiting belief, say, "Oh, I can't meditate."
It is. Yeah.
It's a limiting belief. Even if you start with 1 minute and work your way up from there, and there's, like you're saying, there's different ways you can advance your meditation. It could be walking or running, but definitely not having the headphones. And something very important, the morning ritual definitely helps a lot. I think we spoke about mine is really very basic. Waking up, do some deep breathing, and then I have water, which could be showers, wash my face. And then I go, my meditation is actual meditation, but that includes reading. I read certain books and journal. And again, if you don't get to every single thing every day, that's fine, but at least you have that structure in place. And then I also agree that the eating sometimes shifts, but again, as long as you're definitely getting it done in the morning, it definitely helps. And I feel like you made a great point with, we have rituals for brushing our teeth and we take out the clothes we want to wear. How about we take time to be aware of our thoughts and our mindset the night before, at the same time we're taking out our clothes? And to follow up something that you said about time, I know that you're a mom and a grandma, you have businesses. What advice would you give to individuals in the same circumstance to say, I don't have the time? And how can you explain to them that time is an illusion?
You keep asking the question that segue into my next thought. So it's like really perfect. I love it. I love this co-host thing. So, you know, I did vision casting at the end of the year, by the way, which is an evergreen program. So as we're talking about this today, if vision casting ends up being something you want to do, I highly encourage it. So vision casting is really where you align yourself with your goals, your desires, and your values, right? And so when you are crystal clear on this blueprint of your goals, your desires, your values, all the things you want to do before you die, all the things you want to accomplish, and then you really get crystal clear on what is that version of me that gets to do all this, right? What's that version of me? What does she do in the morning? What does she do throughout her day, right? How does she eat? How much does she move? How does she communicate? All the things. When you can get crystal clear, it becomes a lot easier. And remembering that time is an illusion. And by the way, when I started self-prioritizing, my kids are, maybe they're on, I don't know if they're on or not today, but I'm like 1,000 times better mom now that I put myself first. I am so present and so, I'm sure I'm not perfect, but like night and day, so there's a perfect example where I wouldn't be self-prioritizing because, but sometimes we're just busy with the thoughts of all that we have to do as a mom, as a, whatever your position is at work or whatever your volunteer things are. It's like you're busy in the thoughts of what you need to do, right? But if you take the time, you time block out to get that all organized, like we do, like that made a huge difference for you. One of the things that I was able to do for you is just put that structure to it. So now when you sit down to work, you know exactly what you're working on. You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So I think that that structure is actually what gives you the freedom and the time and the space, which is counterintuitive, but it's so important. I mean, we took all that time to identify your values and identify, all the things that are this future version of Be Royalty. And so it's pretty clear when you're not in the space that is this version of you. And we get to, I call it affirmations. I love that term. So instead of just affirming, I am, right? You get the opportunity throughout the day to align your actions and your choices with this version of you and this life that you aspire to. And then also not becoming attached, right? When the shit hits the fan, and it did in my life this year. It's like my marriage just blew up, all kinds of things. And I didn't allow that to take me this way or take me that way because I had my values crystal clear right in front of me. I had the vision and the version of the life that I desire and all the things that I want to be and do. So it's okay that this happened or that happened. I trust that this is a part of the plan and the process. Now, it wasn't in my blueprint, but there's a reason. Everything is happening not only for me, but through me. And I'm so aligned with that because I am aligned with the version of me that I want to be. My choices match.
No, definitely. So having your values, making that space for yourself. Now, sometimes I feel it's easier said than done, especially for mothers. This is what I hear from mothers who they feel sometimes shameful to take that time for themselves? Like, what would you say to mothers who might feel guilty because they have, their partner and their kids? What would you say to overcome that guilt or that shame?
Okay, so the guilt, the shame, the the obligations, the this sense of responsibility, it's programming. It's complete programming. The best thing that you can teach your children is self-care and self-love, and taking time and space for yourself, and having quiet time, and not being, distracted and all over the place, and filling space, with, the guilt ends up having you put things in that space instead to make you feel better, right? That's where the comfort food comes in, or the binge watching, or maybe, the couple of glasses of wine I need a day. And we're doing it to ourselves. It's not in reality. Taking 5 minutes a day, there's no way that anybody could get up 5 minutes earlier. One of the things that I did right, and I did a lot of things wrong, was get up really early. So I had an hour or two before the kids got up, and before all those things started to happen. And that was a habit I incorporated a long time ago. But you're going to be a much better version of yourself. I remember being the mom screaming and yelling at my kids, like, let's go, we're late, what's going, so you show up a much better version of yourself, and you're not stressed out and feeling guilty and weighed down and overwhelmed and all of those things. And also taking that time to organize what you want to do and aligning your actions and your choices. Being a stressed out mom, I don't think is on anybody's life that they want to design.
I completely agree. Being a stressed out person, definitely self-care is super important. I feel like sometimes when we think of self-care, we're thinking of go get a massage, get your nails done, which is a form of it. But really, self-care is taking care of your inner needs,
Yes.
your inner needs first. And I feel like what I've learned, probably it came through writing my book, is to be able to confidently express how you feel and express and ask for your needs. Because sometimes, you can kind of struggle doing that, is stepping up and asking. So again, what advice do you have for individuals that struggle with asking for time to prioritize themselves?
Well, first start taking a look at how you're spending your time, because I know moms, I'm on Facebook and I see, oh, you got to watch this show, you got to watch that show, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody loves a binge watch more than me, and I could watch like 3 movies in a row when I get into a groove, okay? So it's not about that, that's not okay. It's just like, so take 10 minutes, light a candle, put on some music, do some journaling, do some deep breaths, and then the next thing you know, you want to do more of that, and you want to do more of that, and you want to do more of that. But you just take a look at how you're spending your time. If you have time to binge watch a show, I guarantee you, you have time. And this is not judgment. It's just being acutely aware. And then you feel like you need that. And I understand, for me, it was having a few drinks, a couple of drinks, or even one drink, and watching something at the end of the day. And listen, anybody in the world would have been like, yeah, John, you deserve that. You should definitely do that. But it was only adding to the burnout and the overwhelm and the stress, because now you're filling your head with all other kinds of stuff instead of like being able to just get crystal clear on what's important to me, and, how do I want to go about my day tomorrow, and, just creating that time and space. So taking a really good look at how you're spending your time and being honest with yourself. And then comparing how you're spending your time, right? This is how I spend my time. This is the life that I desire. Do they match? And if they don't, you're not in alignment. And then that's where, relationships problems come in, and all kinds of things, because when you're not living in alignment, you're stressed out, you're irritable, you have anxiety, you have anger. To me, that's where a lot of like depression and all of those issues come from, is when we're not in alignment. We are meant to grow. We are meant to be the highest and best version, and to have the best experience that we possibly can. I truly believe we are meant to have it all. but we're shortcutting ourselves and we're creating these illusions that there's just not enough time to do that.
Right. So I kind of laughed inside when you said we're meant to have it all, because a lot of times you hear we can't have it all and then you have to sacrifice.
No.
And I feel like that's another limiting belief. I feel that again, it goes back to what we're saying in the beginning about we can have it all in terms of being clear on our values. And I feel that the life that I've been living, let's say the last 3 years, is like I do have a corporate position. I really like the company I work with. I like the work that I do. The people, like, I've liked some teams and I've not liked some teams, but overall I have a great experience in corporate. And I absolutely love being a writer, author, consultant, mentoring others to live their purpose. I've been able to travel. I haven't met my soulmate yet, or I haven't connected with my soulmate yet, but
Here's mine. You see my guru frog? That's my soulmate.
Right. And too, and when that happens, since writing the book and going through the experiences, I know how to have a healthy relationship now. Right. Yes. And my health has improved. Like I almost died when I was a kid. I was almost gonna have a triple bypass heart surgery. I didn't have it. I nursed myself back to health, took myself off. I was on like 9 or 10 medications, I had osteoporosis. I nursed myself back to health. I'm now seeing a holistic doctor. My health is so much better. So we can have it all in terms of our own values. So something I'm curious to know is how has your value shifted from maybe a few years ago to now?
Really, knowing, having the clarity on what they are and being able to articulate them, right? So, and they change. I kind of do this quarterly. Right now it's mindfulness, joy, fun, blessings. By the way, I got that saying from V. I called her and said, oh, I'm so excited that you moderated Brené's book signing. She's like, oh, it was a fun blessing. I'm like, okay, that is like my new thing. Like, come on, what is better than a fun blessing, right? Service and gratitude. So those are the values that I align myself with in this moment. And I take a look at it and realize like things shift, priorities shift. And so I take that time and space. And that's part of what we did in Vision Cast. And that's what we do in all of my programs. And and you can sense at the end of the day or at the end of the week, I do planning every week. And this is how my business is growing because I'm learning to be able to be crystal clear on my values and align my actions, my choices, and my schedule. And for me now, personally, and I'm not suggesting this for everybody, I'm not in the hustle and grind mode. My schedule is built with the things that make me feel good because I realize when I feel good, I'm a better coach. I'm like an amazing coach when I'm in the God zone. I love the God zone. My rituals and my routines. And, part of that is, learning, taking more courses and doing those things. So my values have changed mainly because they're front and center. I think I was always, these were always and spirituality is one of my core values that, so I usually have 5 that I'm like, these are like most important right now, but then I have more that are just part of who I am. And what are your values? I think yours front and center.
Yes, I do. I always say that probably when I was in like accounting, my values were just the traditional success, promotion, and money.
Just programming. That's all programming. Yeah. Not you. That's not you. Now you've gone within and you know who you are.
Right. So those are, and I was really into when I was in fitness, I was into like, let's say bodybuilding was all about the body. I wasn't really in good condition when I was in fitness. I just had a really nice body, but now I don't have as much muscle, but I feel I'm in much better conditioning. But now my values are number 1 is health, because without it, nothing else matters. Mm-hmm. And when I say health, that is my physical health, emotional, mental, and spiritual health. And someone who was diagnosed with a rare terminal illness when I was young, it took me some time, but it really helped me to appreciate my body, because there's times I wouldn't be able to like stand or like hold a can in my hand. So really taking care of ourselves. Nutrition has been a journey. Like I would say my nutrition journey started maybe 7-8 years ago, and I started just incorporating juicing and then just taking out certain things out of my diet. Like I don't have like soda or like any fruit juices in the fridge. at this point, and I used to say I'm a flexitarian, I eat meat socially. Now I'm pescatarian, and it's really just helped my body. I feel like actually eating is a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
So it's very important. And then the emotional mental health. During the pandemic was the first time I was able to, I always wanted to go see a therapist. And that's something I incorporate when I'm in difficult times, seeking therapy, like professionals, because friends are great, but they're not trained professionally to take care of that mental and emotional health. And sometimes just like talking things out helps a lot.
Yeah.
And growing deeper spiritually, getting deeper into meditation and who I am, what I'm here to do. So the first value is health. Second value is relationships, because I look back again. I started corporate America 20 years ago, and I've been in and out of it. I don't remember what I did, but I remember the relationships that I've had, and that's what life is about. And I feel like every time you read those stories about, oh, what would you regret, is always about, oh, I wish I could reconnect with this person, or the relationships that I had. So for me, it's, again, it's personal relationships, family, professional. That's what makes life wonderful and beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I would say is my purpose, which I'm living in, using my gifts of written and spoken word to serve others. It just makes life so much more fulfilling. And again, it's not perfect. There's ups and downs, but I trust, I'm able to trust the process because I know what my purpose is. And last but not least is the experiences. It was amazing experience to live in Jamaica, and it just expands the mind.
Oh yeah.
Going to Thai, I love Thai food is my favorite type of food. I've always wanted to go to Thailand, so I haven't been back east since I went to Hong Kong for study abroad. So I'm excited. Like the things that I desire to do, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So it's the experiences. So those are my 4 top values: are health, relationships, purpose, and experiences. And I live my life according to that. And something is not in alignment, I will push it away.
Yeah.
And it makes space for bringing more of the experiences that I do want. And I will say this for anyone that's in corporate: the way I show up in corporate, I take nothing from anyone because I know who I am and I know who I'm protected by. And that is the follow-up question I have for you. How has your relationship with a higher power helped you? Because I feel like we need some type of spiritual relationship or connection to really do this type of work.
Agreed. So one thing, hold that question, because I this thought came up.
Okay.
So one of the things about really defining your values, it helps you because especially moms, working moms, right? We're trying to have this balance. Balance is bullshit. The amount of energy that it takes to try to be in balance. And so it's like, I'll give a good example. One of my clients, his father-in-law passed away last week, and the father-in-law lives in Florida, and so he's been like kind of not fully working for a whole week, right? But when you take the time to really define your values and what's important and organize your priorities into the blueprint of what actions need to take place for for you to be able to start manifesting this business or whatever it is that you desire. And then something like that happens that pulls you out. This allows you to have what I call harmony. So when you have this very clearly articulated and you have this beautiful blueprint of the life that you want to live and the version of yourself that you want to be, when you get pulled in another direction, the intention and the energy is still in the other areas, right? So you're not sacrificing relationships. You're not sacrificing your business, even if you're fully over here with your family right now for a little bit of a week. The energy and the intention is still where it needs to be, and stuff will still happen. And it's like, it's just amazing. The energy, the universe, it doesn't sense that we're not focused over here or we're not focused over there, and everything still is in alignment. And I think that does segue into the higher power or God, and the universe for me. And I mean, God too. I believe in a lot of different things. So it's trusting that when you are showing up as the best version of yourself in this moment, that doesn't mean that it's in this moment. Your intentions are to be the best version of yourself and align yourself with your values. I don't know. God just shows up, he just shows up, and it's just present, and it's just so obvious. And then when you start looking for the signs, And you don't even need to look for the signs. The signs just kind of start showing up, and I call it looking for the light, following the energy, and it just becomes choiceless. And you know what the next right thing to do is without, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? And what about this? And then I feel guilty and I'm over here and I'm over there. No, it's harmony, and that connection to a higher power really solidifies that harmony, so you don't feel like you're balancing, and you don't have the guilt when you need to spend more time with your family, or right now, fam, I need to spend like 60 hours a week focusing on my business, and when your relationships are on those values and are a priority, and your actions and choices are aligned with them, they don't feel like they are being put on hold. They understand that you're doing this for the greater good. And then when you step back in with your family, it's quality time, and you're present, and you're fully with them. And I think that connection with the higher power holds that all together. Like, it's like the glue, that creates that harmony and that faith and that trust. And I had a lot of trouble with the word faith for a long time, because I was, my father's a Jehovah's Witness. I had some pretty intense religious experiences as a young kid. My mom always called us recovering Catholics, and really had a lot of not great things to say about the Catholic Church. So religion was, and then, then I got into Buddhism, which is not a religion, by the way. But now it kind of is considered a religion, although there's no deity, there's no God. So in Buddhism, you can be a Catholic and be Buddhist. You can be actually, one of the top Buddhist monks in the world is a Brooklyn Jew, Bhikkhu Bodhi. He actually lives right here in Carmel at the Chuan Yen Monastery. So I struggled with that. And but yet at the same time, the things that I've been through in life, how could I even deny a God? I mean, I've had so much divine intervention and guidance to survive things that most people wouldn't have survived. And I always had that connection. But allowing it as a part of who you are, and aligning your actions and your choices, you just feel the presence. It's kind of hard to explain. It just is. And then, I saw this quote the other day, and it made me cry. If you knew who, and you said something like this earlier, if you knew who was walking alongside you, you would never worry. You would never fear. You would never doubt. And you can choose. Do you remember a little while back, I had that experience where I was playing around with signs, and I walked out on the beach and said, I want a sign in flowers. Now, I've walked my beach a million times. I know there's like some ground cover flowers. That's not the kind of flowers that I wanted, right? I wanted flowers. And so I asked for this sign, kind of like whatever. So I'm walking the beach, and like 3/4 of a mile or like half a mile in, all of a sudden there's flowers all washing up on the shore, walking. I'm picking up all these flowers, and it goes on for like a whole nother half a mile, maybe even more. And I'm picking them up. And then by the time I turn around, I've got giant bouquet of flowers in my hand. And this lady comes up to me, and she's like, what is this? Like, do you know who these flowers are for? And I go, yeah, they're for me. And she just looked at me. And so, yeah, you could choose to say, oh, these flowers came off of one of the cruise ships, or somebody had a wedding and it got washed away in a storm, or blah, blah, blah. And it probably was those things, but it doesn't matter. Those flowers were for me. And that thought carries me through today when I feel doubt, and when I feel scared, and when I feel that. But that's a choice too, right? I choose to see the miracle, and see the love, and see the support, and feel the connection. So it is a choice. And I don't know, but I dance a little bit lighter in my steps. I have been able to get through some really hairy situations in my personal life in the last, since that happened about 6 months ago, because it's carried me through. And that is that connection to God, the universe, the divine, the higher power, whatever you want to call it. I can just tell you that when I'm in that space, I feel loved, supported. I feel light. I feel free.
Absolutely. Definitely having a higher power helps with the process, helps with trusting, and helps with faith. And I feel, well, at least for me, as my age has gotten bigger, like things that I used to worry about 10 years ago, I don't worry about it because I know, God is always walking besides me, and even going through really difficult times. If we really look at those difficult times, it is God's way of trying to get our attention. And a lot of our suffering is, I feel that there's just something that we need to become aware of. And I've been very good at taking pain and turning it into a purpose again. That's
Well,
why
it
Good
is.
Spirit came out of the pain of having a very terminal illness as a kid. The book came after a painful relationship. So being able to be grateful for those, that's something. Being grateful in the hard times, being happy in the hard times, doesn't mean we don't work through the difficult emotions, but definitely having a higher power helps us get through. And I always say it's like learning to swim when you have to learn to float. To learn to float, you have to trust the water is going to carry you, and just trusting that the universe is going to carry you through whatever situation you're going through. And you can't connect the dots looking forward, but looking back, like, okay, I see why that happened. It was actually pushing you into a better direction.
Yeah. And and then also the gratitude, right? So that's one of the points that I wanted to get to. Being in gratitude and understanding that, the ability. So we're going to feel sadness, we're going to feel anger, we're going to feel, some anxiety. These things will happen, but it's just a matter, they don't give them a seat at the table. Don't deny them. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't, give them the seat at the table. Those emotions have helped you in so many ways throughout your life. Fear probably saved your life many times, right? Anxiety is more like intuition. And so like when you sense that anxiety, okay, what am I missing? Like what's going on? What am I not aware of? What am I not taking care of? And just become clear on it. Use them for what they are. These are gifts, right? Because like a flock of birds don't have that, and we're humans, and we have this beautiful gift of emotions and consciousness and awareness and all of them. So understanding that they are a gift and finding the gratitude for them, and putting the joy into every scenario and every situation. And this, you guys, to tie it back into business, this helps you show up as the best leader, as the best version of yourself, as the best sales, whatever it is that you do. You're not distracted. You're not like, oh my God, this happened last night and I'm right. Yeah, that is going on, and it is upsetting, and I will work through that. But right here, right now, this is where I am, and I'm present, and everything is okay. I am fully loved. I am fully supported, and I am feeling this, but I also know that no matter what, first of all, that's where the faith comes in, where you can have these deep emotions and still show up as the best version of yourself. When you can do that, you'll never doubt and you'll never worry, because you are going to be able to carry yourself through. But that's because you are connected. You are in that greater space of consciousness, the divine and the universe. So it has a place in business. It's front and center. And if it's not God for you, whatever it is, but connection to that higher power is absolutely, that's what the Soulful Prosperity is all about. Because I work also on the flip side, which I don't actually market and advertise, but I work with very successful people who have a lot of money in the bank, and they're just not happy. They're just not happy. They're still living in fear and scarcity, and, obsessing, watching the news and all of these things, even with the millions and millions in the bank, right? Because they don't feel fully loved, fully supported, and free, and in joy, and in gratitude. So super, super, super important. And so we do have a couple questions here that came in, I guess, probably from Kajabi. So what advice do you have for letting go of the do-it-all mindset and building a team? Okay, so this is the hardest one, right? Because we become very I built this business, I know how to do it. It's really a matter of getting all of your genius out of your head and into systems and processes, and also trusting. But all that information in your head, and then and I am so guilty. Jose will tell you, like, well, why don't you just know that? Like, hello, like, blah, right? That's what we do. That's not being a really good leader, just because you know exactly how it should be and so on and so forth. If you haven't been able to communicate that and give it in black and white. So, and then also this goes back to that creating that time and space and trusting that taking the time to train somebody properly instead of being like, oh, I don't have time for this, I'm just going to do it myself. You can't grow. You cannot grow that way. So I hope that answered that. I just want to try to pick ones that what systems or support have helped you focus on the big picture instead of getting stuck in the grind? We kind of covered that. It's really, following those routines and the things that help you to be clear and show up as the best version of yourself. I think we covered this too. How do you prioritize yourself while running a business, and what impact has it had? I think we've answered most of the questions that are on here. So we can end on this one. Just because we can kind of wrap up. So how do you prioritize yourself while running a business? What impact it has? Like, you have to. And, I hope that that's what. And I don't like even using the words "you have to," but
you get to.
One of the beauties, and this is one thing I used to teach agents, when you show up at somebody's kitchen table and you have taken the time and space to be clear on what kind of agent you want to be, and you've eaten healthy and you got really good sleep, and you're not there because you're so afraid, like, listen, when you're in business and an entrepreneur, you have to eliminate the question around money. You cannot show up to somebody's house like, I gotta get this sale. I gotta get this sale. If I don't get the sale, it's not gonna happen. So, if you're not grounded in that faith of knowing that you are fully supported, loved, then you're not going to show up as that best version, and they're going to sense it, right? And so this is where that word "have to," really, if you want to build a business that has the soulful prosperity, which means that you feel free and you feel the joy and you feel gratitude and you feel love and your relationships are balanced and your health is balanced. Listen, so many people in the real estate industry, they're drinking martinis every night. So it depends on what really what you want, and getting crystal clear on it, and then making sure that your actions and choices align with that. You're going to be better at every single role in your life, and it's going to become fun, and you get to be creative, and you're lighthearted, and it's just a huge difference. What say you, Brene?
Yeah, definitely. I think going back to what we've been saying the entire conversation is becoming aware of who you are and what your values are. And it makes it's like, I always say, it's like someone's building a house, but they don't know what tools to use and they don't have a blueprint. What are they going to build? It's like, it's going to be all over the place. But now if someone says, these are the tools you use and these are the blueprint, because you have a specific vision, it makes life that much easier. And being a business owner myself, I see how much putting myself first has helped me, and having the framework and the structure which you provide through your coaching has been very much beneficial.
And I'm just going to add to that. When you take care of yourself, you now have like an interior designer looking at your blueprint. So
I love it.
Yeah, because they're going to be like, whoa, even after you start building, whoa, that window does not belong there. Okay. And, a storm, and then also things like you're protected, where a storm's going to come along and start hailing and raining on your work. It's going to be okay, right? It really gives you this entire team when you are taking care of yourself. You're showing up. It's not just you, right? I remember I used to say to my daughter all the time, you and me against the world, kid. Whoa. I mean, I had this conversation with Olivia and Zendaya in the woods. I was like, Zen, did mommy ever say that to you? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I'm so grateful that she didn't, because that was such a sad, and now I built success. I mean, I built my real estate business and was a single mom up, and then it all blew up because there was a void. I wasn't happy. I wasn't free. I wasn't, in the space. So my bank account doesn't yet quite match where it was, but I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life, and it's coming. But there's a freedom to it. There's a joy. There's a creativity. There's space. There's all the things, that are part of my values. And so that's where it boils down to. You can have it all. You can have it all, but being crystal clear on what that means to you. How do you make your choices? How do you run your life and your schedule if that is not crystal clear? So I'm going to encourage that again, although I don't know if you can, to do the vision casting, because that having that clarity is, yes, it's like having the blueprint, but then you have, the designer and all the things, and you don't have to worry about carrying it all, and you get that harmony in your life. Because those of you trying to create balance, good luck. Good luck. Brene, anything that you want to add before we wrap up today? Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Anyone who's interested in discovery calls, myself, I do free discovery calls, 30 minutes. You can find me at Brene Royalty Speaks, Instagram, Facebook.
And here's her sign up. If you're interested in mentorship, give Brene a call. And all right, it's Friday. It's freezing. I'm supposed to go do something fun with my granddaughter today, and I'm already like, maybe we'll just watch a movie. But
yeah, stay inside type of thing. I'm with you.
But maybe we'll go ice skating. The sun is out at least now. So, but we're gonna do something fun. And also the fractional leadership program. This is really, really powerful. If you're in that space where you've had success, and you're kind of, I don't have the time, but yet I want to grow over here. I want to do this. I want to do that in your business. Or you just so sucked into your business that you are sacrificing your family and all the other things that are on your vision or in your vision. This is an amazing program where I can come in and really give you practical, not just woo-woo, practical systems and organization, and get everybody rowing in the same direction, helping with that, everybody having agency and ownership over their roles in your business, so that you can then go back and focus on wherever it is that you're looking to grow, and obviously also becoming more profitable. So everybody have a great weekend. Brene, this was so much fun. You're going to have to come back all the time. As many times as we want, you are welcome. And any other business owner, entrepreneur out there that wants to come and have some fun with me, just reach out. Love you guys. And Jose is here. Let's see. He keeps popping in and out. Let's see if I can do it.